Today is July 13th, 2025. Okay. During the case, when it first started in 18 and 19, 2018 and 2019, two heavyset blonde girls showed up. Okay. They said they were Dave's illegitimate daughters. They were stealing for them. They told everyone that they told Louisville in 2019. They told Maslin in October 4th, 23, that guy Will was stealing for them. My client on Forest Grove Drive in Akron, they told the neighbor they were stealing for them. They told everyone. They were way up in their 30s, heavyset blonde girls. Okay? They called them a Michelle and Lauren. Okay? What is not funny? Before I married Dave, he only made $80 a week working with John Calgo. He went out and got a factory job. We got married, and he lost it right away. It didn't make sense. He kept ruining every job he had. My dad was a vice president of Midwest Rubber. It was custom mixing rubber. It was very hard to get into his factory. The pay there, they paid really well. You could make over $1,000 a week or more working there back in 1985. Okay? Within 9 months of us being married, I had found out I was pregnant with my second child. And I called my dad, and he gave Dave a job. Right away, there was rumors of him cheating with a heavyset white brown woman. I confronted him. He said, Karen, I'd never cheat on you. They're just trying to break us up. Okay? And I told my brother to get me proof. Well, back then we didn't have cell phones. The phone was attached to the wall with a long cord. Okay? You couldn't carry a camera around a big, hot rubber factory with carbon black flying everywhere. Big Banburies melting chemicals together. Rubber slabs coming down. And they were custom mixing rubber for different plants. I said, just get me some kind of proof and I'll leave him. Well, he never did, and Dave kept calling him liar. Well, right away, I started getting medical bills that weren't mine. Reported insurance fraud. My brother was there when Dave was talking to Kay McMillan, which was a secretary of Midwest Rubber. Told him that there was no way some woman would have got the company's insurance information unless Dave gave it to him, and there was rumors of him cheating. He either pays those co-pays, or she'll turn him into the police for identity and insurance fraud. Okay? And I told him, I said, Dave, are you cheating? He's like, Karen, some crazy woman got your ID and your insurance information from the factory, and she's using it. It's not me. I'd never cheat on you. And da-da-da, it makes up all these excuses. We got to pay those or they'll put me in jail. Here it says him and his girlfriend scamming me. I found out. That bitch ran up, So many medical bills. Back then, you could go in and start a doctor. You never showed your driver's license. You just went in and filled out a paper who you were. You didn't bring your insurance card. You call it in later. Nobody asked for ID. They took you for who you were. There was times we didn't know about the medical bills until they attached as wages. I even reported it to, what was that, medical group. I gotta think of the name of the big insurance company in Ohio, Medical Mutual Ohio, of insurance fraud. Couldn't prove it wasn't me. Got stuck with the copays. Altman Hospital even called me. Wanted to talk about a stay there. I haven't stayed there in a while. You see, Dr. So-and-so, never heard of him. Tell him about this lady using my insurance. She said, well, we sat and talked. I remember. I said, ma'am, I've never met you. What part of another woman's using my insurance? You said you have 2 little girls. I have 3 boys. Their names are this. I thought one of them was Brittany. I forget. And I said, well, those are nice names. But I'm not even for sure about the Brittany. But she told me the names. I said, I have a John, Josh, and Dan. I have 3 boys. I told you somebody else is using my insurance. Well, your insurance is this. Yes, click. Do you know how many times that happened? Do you know how many times I called doctor's offices and told them it wasn't me? You know what they told me? Someone's going to pay those copays. You either pay them because your insurance was used, or we'll attach as wages. And that's how they handled it, instead of calling the cops. Someone will pay them. They'll pay those deductibles, or we'll attach as wages. She went Harry Carey on my insurance. $3,500, $2,500, $1,200, $750. We were lucky if it was only $125 or $250. She had all kinds of procedures done, hospital stays, doctors I've never heard of. Even today at Walgreens, you can pull up and just tell them your name and address. They'll hand you your pills. They don't ask for ID. I went to pick up my pain medicine. They said I picked it up the week before. She stole my narcotic pain medicine. That's how not funny this is. She was using my prescription card. Just have them call it over in my name. They filled it and she picked it up. You know, see, that's one thing when they put me on fentanyl patches. And we had to go to Davies Drugs to pick it up because it was fentanyl. They demanded ID. I laughed. She can't steal from here. See, that's where only me or Dave could pick up those fentanyl patches. We had to show ID. But she stole Vicodins. She was using my prescription card. My brother even told Carla about it. My mom knew of her. Every union rep. In over 15 years, she ran up $50,000 to $100,000 worth of copays. And Dave kept saying some crazy woman's got the company's information using in your name. And if we don't pay it, they'll put me in jail. Karen, I'd never cheat on you. And here it's him and his girlfriend. We're March 27th, 25, outside my client's investigator that was dating Michelle and broke up with her. When she confessed to him, they had tried to kill me when they bashed in my head. And the reason I don't know who that doctor is from before, he's not one of mine. He works for them, and they had lied he was one of my doctors. And had got it out of Dave. that a girlfriend from before me made him marry me so he could get a job at my dad's factory. And she'd have free insurance to use, and he could give her extra money. My whole marriage was a scam. So those girls saying that they showed up to steal from me because their mother victimized me, that's not funny. And stole from me. I owed them nothing in life. Nothing. They're not my children. They're 30-year-old women. And if they are Dave's illegitimate daughters, the only one that owes them anything in life is their mother and their father. Not somebody that their mother robbed of $50,000 to $100,000. And that they think that they can show up and steal from them too. Yeah. That's how sick a lot of this case is. See, that's where these people run around telling people they have my medical information. They never have it. They couldn't get it. No doctor can look. See, that's where yesterday I went out to eat. People said we listened to her how hard it is to get somebody's medical records and how illegal it is, and you'd end up in jail for even having them. Right on Google, no doctor that is not yours can look up your medical records as stealing documents. It's 10 years. Up to $1 million fine. The place they work for, like $1 million fine too. Pretty close thereof. You can sue them both. It's stealing documents. No attorney can have his doctor friend do that. They go to jail for stealing documents. No retired judge can do it either. Let's see. No doctor can talk about you without your consent. Or it's 10 years. They lose their license immediately. Forever. Where they had the scam of an office hiring a psychiatrist on their own to evaluate me. I never signed consent for evaluation, never met with them, never talked to them. I don't have a psychiatrist. Had them write up fraud. It better just be a flat-out fraud letter, because a real psychiatrist would know they lost their license immediately and bought 10 years federal prison. HIPAA and Privacy Act. And then we go into medical malpractice and medical negligence. And I can sue all of them. No hospital, no doctor's office can speak of you or even what they treated you for. It's 10 years. $1 million fine, and you can sue them and who they work for. No one can look you up without your signed consent. So where these people run around saying they have my medical records or they know all my medical history, they don't know nothing. See, before 2002, right after I had had surgery, about 6 to 10 surgeries, okay, I went to a bunch of crackpots and they almost killed me. And they're documented fraud, medical malpractice, medication errors. Documented by My Community Health in 2002. See, if they actually had my medical records, it's already documented fraud. They were all lying. See, December 30th or 31st of 23, I'm in Altman Hospital emergency room with a client. Some nurses are talking. No one would ever address to her what those doctors did to her before. My God, they were lying so bad. They said she had level 2 brain tumors. And there was nothing wrong with her, but her muscles locked up. And they caused all that with medication errors. Nobody's going to say a word about doctors lying, defrauding someone like that. 2 guys walked by on the officer that watches them at night. All those and the other guy said that all those doctors were lying before? Yes. They were ripping her off and defrauding her. And it was the medication making her sick. Nobody will say a word. Where Officer Mark in August of 23, it's documented and verified she was framed before, and it was a drug cartel in her home before, that they had seen him. They consider that one Pete cartel. And it's documented and verified another woman was using her insurance, and it was a medication error that made her sick before. He was in the back of Altman, I always call it Altman Family. It's my community health center on 7th Street, right behind Altman Hospital. In 2018, when the case first started, I go in there. I could see him and a bunch of the guys in the back. They had to be there for the protective custody case. And Altman, my community health, every year since 2002, goes over it. There was nothing wrong with you, but your muscles locked up before. Everything those doctors did and said was fraud. They were ripping you off and making you sick. It was medication errors that made you sick before. Every year. They encouraged Dave and I to sue them for 2 years, maybe 3, and that they would even go with me to court. And they even said, don't even, no matter all those diagnoses, the only thing you admit that you had wrong with you was your muscles locked up. Everything else was fraud. They were all lying, ripping you off. They almost killed me. See, that's where investigators have wondered if that occult didn't pay them off to try to kill me. Because, like they said, there's no way with everything swelling up and shutting down that they didn't know they weren't killing her. And it took another doctor to tell on them. And then it goes into attempted murder. See, that's where they were waiting to see if one of those doctors would actually put their name on it, that they were actually in it with the cult. See, they could never talk to the cult. They could never talk to Dave without my consent. They could never even tell him what I was diagnosed, treated for. That's a federal crime. It's 10 years. See, if they actually put their name on it, that they were in it with them, then they did pay him off to try to kill me. See, I can tell you what was wrong with me, and then you realize how much fraud it was. Years ago, about 30 years ago, I doubled over screaming one day. Dave rushed me to the hospital. They did an emergency appendectomy. And they said it didn't look bad, but the way she was screaming, we took it out. Well, a few months later, I'm screaming in the same spot. I go in the emergency room. They said, have you ever been checked for cyst? And I said, cyst? Endometriosis. Fluid-filled cyst growing and exploding inside me. It will double you over. I was full of them. Not like just one. I was full of them. Growing and exploding. They tried burning treatments, medications, trying to burn them off. Medications trying to shrink them. Caused kidney stones. I had to have stents put in and out of my kidneys. They went through my belly button and around it till I have thick scars. Several times I had to go in. I was bleeding into my stomach. One time I was bleeding so bad, they said if I wouldn't have been in the hospital, I would have died. It got so bad my uterus flipped over, and they had to do a lower hysterectomy. A few months later, I'm screaming again. And they did an ultrasound. They said the one cyst is big as a golf ball. It burst. You're dead. And the other one has little ones. So they cut me side to side and take my ovaries out. Okay? A few months later, from all of that, my gallbladder quit working. They took it out. And then scar tissue formed in a ball, and they took it out. My muscles are cringing from all those surgeries. Because you got to think, in my belly button around it, I have thick scars where they had to keep going back in. Okay? Well, one day, I start bleeding. Like I'm having a heavy period. I go in the emergency room. I have nothing to bleed from. One of the kidney stones had kinked the kidney tube. And it was the kidney itself bleeding. I got a 4 or 5 inch scar on my back where they had to cut through my back and take the damaged part of the kidney tube out and repair it. That's where my muscles clenched. Like a nurse said, you had so much trauma to your stomach and back, and your muscles didn't have time to heal, and so they clenched. Okay? I am in so much pain because my stomach muscles are clenched. And at times, the muscles, well, even later on, even in my legs, would raise up like this. Underneath the skin, blood vessels would break and blood would run out of my skin with no cut. I have red freckles. And that is excruciating when that happens till that muscle relaxes. I went to all kinds of doctors. Crackpots. Started me on medication. My feet started swelling. I said, is the medication? No. You have underlying conditions. Brought out from the surgeries. No, I didn't. Gave me more medication, more swelling. Sent me to more doctors, more swelling. Got so bad, I started at 105 pounds. I was 275 in 2 years. My legs had tripled in size, and there was so much swelling on my legs, my knees would pop out of place. I was going to orthopedic doctors, having my knees drained, and they gave me canes and braces because my feet are normally a 7, 7.5 shoe, and I was an 8.5, 9 wide. They were so swollen. Like I said, I had to have my knees drained. They would put a giant syringe in my knee and pull out a turkey base full of fluid and put steroids in every month, if not every other month. I started having seizures. I started having heart attacks. Had pneumonia several times. My thyroid, my adrenal gland shut down. I was even having a hard time seeing. They told me I had epilepsy, lupus, level 2 brain tumors, pituitary tumors, that I needed my pituitary gland removed from my brain. Before I'll let them remove part of my brain, I want to talk to my regular doctor. I go in and I talk to him. She's like, whoa. Those doctors are known for lying. Falsely diagnosing people, ripping them off, making them sick, and wanting to do unnecessary procedures. They're defrauding you. It's immoral and unethical what they did. You're not the first one, and you're not the only one I've heard of this. You need to get an attorney and sue them, turn them over to the state to pull their license. We'll back you in court. There's nothing wrong with you but your muscles locked up because of those surgeries. They have everything else is fraud and lies. Okay? Get off that medication, you'll be fine. It's wrote up as fraud. I went to Dr. Eli, he agreed. He said, but you're in so much pain, and the only way to get locked muscles to relax is to move them. But you can't hardly move because you're in so much pain. So he put me on fentanyl patches. Muscle relaxers. Fentanyl's 100 times stronger than morphine. The first month, I lost 30 pounds. Where a doctor, even before I got off the medication, said it's almost like you need dialysis. You're still urinating, and your kidneys cannot keep up with the amount of fluid your body's creating. First month I lost 30 pounds. Second month I'm pulling myself around stores and malls with my canes and braces. And I got in so much pain I ended up in the hospital. By the beginning of the third month, I could drive a car. Heart attack, seizures are gone. They're all chemically induced. Thyroid, adrenal gland started working. From like October, November of 2002 to April of 2003, I'd went from a 24 women's to a 16. I was almost well. The only thing that was wrong with me is my muscles locked up. And I had massive amount of swelling that took almost 9 months to go down. I had to learn to walk on my numb feet. I would take 2 steps, fall on my face, 10 steps, fall on my ass. Waddled like a toddler. I was so embarrassed. My mom was so proud of me. She's like, Carrie, you made it 5 steps. Carrie, you made it 7 steps. And I'd fall on my ass or face. And I tell her to shut up. And I would cry rivers of tears and pull back up and start to walk again, waddling and fall again. It was humiliating. It was humiliating. And I know she was proud of me, but all I could see was a hurt and pain that I couldn't walk. It was humiliating. When I left, I always made sure I had my canes and braces because I couldn't afford to fall. No one out there to pick up a fat girl. Okay? I'm almost well in April. May 3rd, 2003, Brian Laney showed up, knocked on the door, told us how Phil and Tyler had been killed. This guy that went to our church and his grandson. There was a church baseball game, but because Dave had to do work on the house, he kept the kids home that day. Okay? That Phil was one of the lead cars. They were all running late. And in front of a bunch of church people, he was speeding, ran a stop sign into a semi. He got ripped into pieces, and Tyler got ejected. His grandson was slammed on the pavement. They were both instantly dead. Phil murdered their son in vehicular homicide. He was speeding, ran a stop sign into a semi, and he was going so fast he got ripped into pieces, and that kid got catapulted through the air and slammed on the pavement and killed. If he was alive, he would still be in jail. Like the girl up in Cleveland that was doing 100 wrecked, she's in 15 to life for murdering those other kids for speeding that fast. Come July, I finally get well. Took me 9 months. Okay? November of 2003, my sister Linda is married to Tim Strange's kid, that minister. Okay? Tim had been cheating on her with this girl, Katie, for over a year. Linda won't confront him. We all know it, but she won't say anything. It's her choice. So we just act dumb. She came up to me at church. I saw him again. I got caught. I think they thought it was you. I'm sorry. Be careful. That next Sunday, I had a headache and I stayed home. And Danny came in from church, and Josh had stayed home that day too. Danny came in from church. He said, "You're not my mother. I don't have to listen to you." I said, "Whoa, you're grounded." He's 14. He screams crazy crap at me and runs out. Josh walks in the room. "What on earth is wrong with Danny?" And I said, "I don't know. Let's go over his friend's house." Heather was his girlfriend. Her mom, Joy Mendez, was there, and her sister, Brasilia. And she said, Danny had been thinking about killing himself. I said, kill himself? He's 14. He said, that minister wants him to help destroy people in the church, and he said he'd rather kill himself. Well, that's my baby. I'm driving up and down streets looking for him. See that minister's car at that church. I said, Josh, I don't want him to know what's going on until I find out what on earth is going on. Wait here. I step through the glass door. He pins me to my face. Confess you were never sick. I almost died from medical malpractice. If they wouldn't have told me with having heart attacks and seizures and my thyroid, adrenal gland shut down, I would have died. I was in cardiac wards and everything. To say I wasn't sick is retarded. I said I really was sick before. He's like, he calls me a liar, and he said, you're nothing but Satan, and just the sight of you would hurt the church's children? And you're a spoiled little brat nobody likes in this church? Get off my property. You'd be lucky to see my kid again. And pushes me out the door. Josh was like, I said, take me up to Dad. Dave didn't always have these big jobs. He was up at Pizza Hut working part-time. I go up there, I got a wall on my face, and I'm telling him he took Danny. He said, I'll fuck out, go home, I'll find out what's going on. When I go home, I call my mom. She calls over there. She said, you better be giving Danny back. I said, we'll give him back when you're done. He said, you can't just take someone's kid. And she tells him off, and I'm never going to your church again. Dave shows back up at the house, and I said, where's Danny? Strange said he'll give him back when he's done. I said, done? And he said, you're never to go to church again. I said, why? He said, because you're Satan, and just the sight of you would hurt the church's children. Don't look at me, screams like a damn fool, and runs out. Michelle Kaki comes over. What on earth is going on, Karen? I'm crying, Josh is crying. I go over and sit on the front porch. Jerry, her husband, walks out and said, I'd rip that door off that church and get my kid back. My mom called me. I walked off. David showed back up. I said, where's Danny? He said, Strange said he'll give him back when he's done, and you're not ever allowed to go to church again. You're Satan. I wasn't the one acting like Satan. I got Danny back that night, and he was shaking like he had cerebral palsy. Whole body vibrating like this. I'm sorry, Mom. He lied, he lied, he lied. The next morning, I hear the car start up. I look outside. It's Danny. He's 14. I go running out. He's headed down Lenox, and there used to be a big tree in the middle of Lenox, and he's aiming for it. And as he's driving, now I'm screaming, he goes sideways this way. Literally. And by the grace of God, it barely missed everything and rolled to a stop. I got down, and he still passed out in the seat. I pushed him over, got him home. Josh helped me carry him in. I had to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, grabbed something to drink. There used to be a telephone pole at the end of Lenox. I heard the dirt bike start up. It's Danny. I'm running outside. He's aiming for that telephone pole. Well, they always drop rocks around it because it floods. He looks back as I'm screaming, and all of a sudden, the dirt bike goes like this. Falls over sideways again. I'm all scuffed up. I took my kids and went to my sister's. Okay? Josh is freaking out when we get down there. I'm not staying down here with these people. And he's freaking out. You either get in the car, I got the keys, I'll go home by myself. And I'll leave you here with no car. And he's freaking out, and I come back, and I take Danny to the crisis center. He told him Strange took him that day. Wouldn't let him leave. Starved him all day. Screamed at him on the pulpit until he passed out, and screamed at him until he did what he was told. And he couldn't remember half the day. And that's why he tried to kill himself twice. He told Georgine Bovuso and Linda at Stark County social workers for the Child and Adolescent Center and a psychiatrist for the Child and Adolescent Center the same thing. Georgine called Dave. She told me she did. I want your participation. And that minister taking Danny and pushed him suicide. He said, I wouldn't talk to you without an attorney. He said, we'll put it this way. One thing happens to Danny or your wife in the next 20 years, I'll put you in jail myself. Get back, boy, y'all. They would have killed me in 2003. See, that's where, what was it, September 18th, 24, 8:30 in the morning, an investigator was talking to my client's neighbor on Forest Grove Drive. I don't want you to say a word to her. That agent needs to get his facts straight. It was a medication error that made her sick before. Why they wait 15 years? That minister actually ordered her to be killed when he thought she was following Tim and Katie back in 2003. Or to have her destroyed and make sure she has nothing. And they planned this for 15 years before they did it. Nobody was allowed to say a word or do a thing till Dave said he wanted a divorce. And it took him 15 years to say it while they planned it out. See, if people actually had my medical records, they would have already known that everything after the surgeries and before 2002 is documented fraud, medical malpractice, and medication errors. And they almost killed me. And they were defrauding me. See, that's where even the investigators, there's no way those doctors didn't know they weren't killing them. With everything swelling up and shutting down and having heart attacks and seizures, there's no way they didn't know they weren't killing her. And it took another doctor to tell on them. And they've been waiting for one of them to actually come forward that they were actually in it with the cult trying to kill me. See, that's where they thought they did it back then. And if they put their name on it, then they are a part of attempted murder instead of just fraud. So where that officer said on December 30th or 31st of 23, all those doctors were lying before? Yes. They were defrauding her and ripping her off, and it was a medication making her sick before. Nobody said it worked. What did those nurses say? Those doctors were lying so bad they were even saying she had level 2 brain tumors. No one will back people lying, falsely diagnosing people and ripping them off, and making them sick and wanting to do unnecessary procedures. And it's the medicine making them sick, and they were all defrauding her. So I had some other woman using my insurance, and I have a bunch of people defrauding me. And it's all rolled up as fraud. And like Altman, My Community Health, you never claim one thing those doctors said because they were all lies defrauding you, making you sick, ripping off your insurance and getting kickbacks from drug companies. And the only thing you claim is your muscles locked up because that was the only thing honestly wrong with you. Well, I found out I have a genetic heart condition. The left side of my heart doesn't pull enough blood. I was born that way. And I actually needed surgery when I was first born. But like they said, you've learned to live with your left side of your heart not pulling enough. I've lived 58 years with it. They said eventually probably will need fixed. I have something called PAVR. They said I was born that way. It just doesn't work as strong as the other side. I heard it's a simple fact, so like an outpatient surgery nowadays. So Where do you think? See, that's where these people don't have my medical records. They lied. These people lied that I had charges. They lied where the retired Judge Pete, friends with Ludick, letting him get away with crimes. If a real judge was letting someone get away with crimes, they would have it so buried, the feds would have to find it. They would not do it out in the open. Dave said he hired some guy named Pete on his own. That retired Judge Pete was with, at a Faith Family Church with the Florida human traffickers that work for Judge Peters from Florida, and Michelle was with him. They were with the drug dealers from Florida. Retired judges do not have police that work for them. Those are drug dealers from Florida, and he's a drug dealer from Florida. They're the ones impersonating the Portage County Sheriffs, framing them, and he's the one framing with that Will Bill guy. Chief Bruce Lewinsky of Portage County, the Portage County Sheriffs, and Judge Timothy Ludick. It's them. It's the Florida drug cartel. They were selling the login at Faith Family Church. They were the ones torturing me in July to September 19, human trafficking me, selling the login in the case how they were harming me. The 12/21/18 stab in the neck, bashed in the back of the head, beat, raped, and left for dead. I was almost shot in the head driving the first 6 weeks of the case. There's a shooting night right on Christmas Eve of 2018. I had to hide not to get killed. Dave's caught with the shooters. I was drugged till I lost 70 pounds. I had to face 6 stalkers, and the police and feds had to chase them off that church had hired. I was human trafficked, and then I was raped and tortured by a fake FBI agent that was with the Florida drug cartel. Just like the fake retired Judge Pete. Where, what was it, March 20th to May 20th of 24, Walmart 62. The cartel was laughing. There was no retired Judge Pete from the Ravenna courthouse. They made him up. They made up everything on her. He's just some guy named Pete Dave hired on his own. He looks like a little white Santa Claus. Carl even seen him in a store. He came home and said, I had the weirdest experience. Some guy looked like a little white Santa Claus. I said, you seen him? He said he came up and started talking to me and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I told him, I said, that's a guy impersonating retired Judge Pete. He was at Faith Family Church with the Florida drug cartel, with Michelle, telling everybody he was friends with Ludick, letting him get away with crimes. He told people he had police working for him. Retired judges don't have police working for him. Those are drug dealers. He's a drug dealer, and they're drug dealers scamming everyone. Drug confessions and photoshopping and washing. And a fake dirty doctor that's not one of mine, but works for them, and they abide, as Michelle said. It's all a big fraud scheme. I'm going to upload this.